But what I find, apart from the fact that deceiving a man that the child is his, apart from it being a heinous act,
Yeah.
I almost feel sorry for those who genuinely did not know that any better. And that's what they call attributed paternity, where obviously you must have had sexual encounters with two men within your ovulation period or what have you. And you genuinely actually think it belongs to the person that you want it to belong to, only to find out that that's not the case.
Yeah.
So there are two different scenarios here.
There are some very saddening cases. Just waking up one day and finding out that the 5 children you raised are not yours.
Well,
Yeah, hello guys. How na day? Yeah, this is Agui TV. Don't forget to share my video, follow me on my YouTube channel. Yeah, you see this video where you just listed now. I just want to let you know, say a lot they happen. I'm here to talk about paternity fraud. It's too much in our country, Nigeria. Statistics talk say Nigeria now be number 2 in the whole world for paternity fraud. After Jamaica will be number 1. Jamaica get 33% of paternity fraud, while Nigeria can't get 30% of paternity fraud, which is very, very much for a country like Nigeria. That shows say if say na 50 million couples then get for Nigeria, that means say 50 million couples get pikin from outside. 50 million married women, they cheat, carry pikin from outside, keep for their marriage. Now what they tell us? That is what the statistic is trying to say. The thing don't too much for our country. My advice here is make sure you do DNA. I know then get maternity fraud where we say they feel born pikin, swap pikin. Yes, that one it is very easy to check, because if they check the woman, then because no how if they check the woman, check the baby, the DNA no match, they go no see na maternity fraud, because no how if you check yourself, your DNA no match with the child, you check your woman own and the child, if you no match, may no say na pikin from outside. But if your own no match, you match your wife, that means say na your wife go carry pikin from outside come. So that one, maternity fraud is easy to dictate. That one is very easy to dictate. But what I am trying to say, if you suspect any of your child, do DNA, because then this paternity fraud is too much. A lot of women they cheat now. A lot of married women they cheat. When after they go say men they cheat, who are the people cheating with the men? Now who the men they cheat with? Now with the women. If you not be the single girls, it go be the married women. Mostly married women are cheating seriously now. Due to one or two reasons they go give. They go say either because of financial problem, or because of say the man no dey knack am well, or because of then get issue, one or two issue. Now it make them go cheat. But what I'm trying to, my message here is, men, open una eye. Open your eye. A lot is happening under your nose. Those kids now, where if you think say now you born them, now you they take care of them. If they at the end now, you go be say no, you get those children. There's a president who talk say, get one president who talk say, trust your spouse, trust your wife, but verify. Verify your children, verify through DNA if those kids are your children, for you not to regret later. It is better for you to regret early, at that early stage. It go pain you for body, say your wife will cheat. Before 6 months, before 3 months, you go move on, start another life. But after, where they hot pass, or where they pain pass, after 30 years, where we say you don't train children, you are 12, you and your kids your children don't bond together. Where we say that by then age don't take your side. You go call later go understand, say these kids, these children where you and them they for over 30 something years, no be your children. It's very, very traumatized. Men they get mental issue or go mental in such situation. So my advice is, our men should wise up. do DNA and make government make those things compulsory for hospital, because e get one doctor wey I talk to. He talk say this DNA wey everybody dey shout, say if dem do DNA for Nigeria, wahala go dey. You go just see say out of 10 children, 10 family, 6 or 5 born pikin from outside, carry pikin from outside enter. Yeah, it's too much. Paternity fraud wey dey for Nigerian marriages now is too much. So I advise our men, make sure you do DNA if you suspect any of your children, any of your child, even self, a childbirth self. If it's possible, you do. If the wife go get angry, if your wife go get angry, make she get angry. Or you can do it without her knowing. Yes, you can do it without her knowing. But if you think that you suspect something, do it. Make you no go train person pikin. Papa go there for club, they pop champagne, they enjoy, they do swag, they pursue women, they do other things. You will come there now, they crack your brain, they suffer, they struggle, they suffer for they train person pikin. Why papa go there outside, they enjoy himself. So you better do it. This DNA is very, very important. I get many cases for my table. Yeah, but I see this video and I say, okay, make I talk about this thing. Make I talk about this thing. It's very, very important. We should do DNA. It's very, very important. Do it for your own sanity. Trust your spouse. Trust your wife, but verify so that you will not regret later. This is all I have to say. Now, watch this video. Make you see a lot of things. Make you see a lot of things where they happen. If they say the man get medical issue, if you say the man no dey impotent, no dey fit born pikin, it's something you and your spouse go talk about. Then una talk about am. But if you think that it's not gonna work, if the woman think say no go fit accept am, it's okay for the woman. You can go. Adoption is the man can go and adopt, train pikin by himself. Then they do am. If me, I don't advise maternity fraud, go carry pikin from outside, come dey pose am for person head, man head, the man will come dey struggle. A lot is happening. All this, what our married women is doing these days is so scary. It's so scary. Men, do DNA for your sanity. Okay? Do DNA for your sanity. It's very, very important. Now, listen to this video, okay? And share. Make sure you share it and like my video, okay? Thank you, and God bless you.
You know, but what I find, apart from the fact that deceiving a man that the child is his, apart from it being a heinous act,
yeah,
I almost feel sorry for those who genuinely did not know that any better. And that's what they call attributed paternity, where you know, obviously you must have had sexual encounters with 2 men within your ovulation period or what have you. And you genuinely actually think it belongs to the person that you want it to belong to, only to find out that that's not the case.
Yeah.
So there are 2 different scenarios here.
There are some very saddening cases. You know, just waking up one day and finding out that the 5 children you raised are not yours.
Well,
there was a particular
is a huge number
in Nigeria that actually called a press conference when he realized that all the children he raised for 17 years were all not his.
Wow.
And he told the press and he went ballistic. There's someone else too that, you know, wanted to commit suicide, ended up in a psychiatric home because men put so much passion into their children. So I understand that. But then on the flip side, I feel like me and my husband, the way we love our child, or the way most parents love their children, you should have a way of making sure that that stress doesn't hit you so bad that it destroys that beautiful
how can it not
family
hit you
that
bad? I mean,
established.
You've brought up, in this case, you're saying not 1, not 2, not 3, 4, but 5.
Yeah, so there's
who genuinely did not know that any better. And that's what they call attributed paternity, where you know, obviously you must have had sexual encounters with 2 men within your ovulation period or what have you. And you genuinely actually think it belongs to the person that you want it to belong to, only to find out that that's not the case.
Yeah.
So that's about the guy and the visa lottery. This visa lottery has caused plenty of wahala. There was a guy who apparently won a visa lottery. And apparently to enable you move your family there, you have to do a DNA test for all your children. So this guy, after being his wife for over 20, 30 years, wanted to move on to greener pastures and saw it as an ample opportunity for them to start life afresh. So he takes the DNA, he takes his 3 children to go and do a DNA test. And lo and behold, when the text came back, out of the 3, 1 was the only one that was his biologically. The other 3 were not. He didn't reveal the information to the children because unbeknownst to them, they didn't know. He keeps this information to himself, then invites his children over during the holiday when everybody was around and sneakily took some saliva and what have you. Goes to an independent place. The results still came out the same. Of course, he asked his madam, needless to say, fire and brimstone, denial, abusing, blah, blah, blah. He took it in his stride. But by this time, he changed his mind about using the lottery. And one day, he went out with the wife. He had gotten himself a gun. And he stopped in the middle of nowhere and pointed the gun at her and brought out the results from American Embassy and the results from the other lab. And when she saw a gun, I mean, there's nothing anybody fears more than losing your life. She now, frighteningly, under pressure, confesses that the second child was a biological child of a friend of the family who they had known for 30 years. And then the last 2 were the children of the cook who had been with them for over 20 years.
This was in Nigeria?
Yes, in Nigeria, which explains why, do you understand, she had a particular closeness with this cook. This was on my group chat. This story was put on my group chat. And then he was now in a dilemma, in 2 minds as to whether or not to tell the children, because, oh, by the way, the woman now dies 2 years after this revelation. So she literally took her own secret to the grave. So he's in 2 minds now, whether or not to tell the children. In fact, he has changed his will several times. He will remove them, then he will put them back on. He will remove them, then so it was an open question that should he...
It's very delicate.
Because I've spoken to doctors who have spoken about couples, especially when the man has very low sperm count. When I say low, the chances of him ever fathering a child is almost second to none.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But I've also heard doctors tell me that a lot of women, not all, maybe some, not even a lot, that's not even, a few women go outside and bring the child in. Yes. Now, in that kind of scenario where it has been medically proven that you can't have a child, but you know, for any man to accept that is very difficult. And then suddenly your wife gets pregnant. And then you now find out this kind of thing, like you said, only between you and the wife. What would you advise the man to do?
So there are 2 scenarios here. There's the guy that knows that I have 0 sperm count. He knows.
How many accept that, really?
You know, very few accept. But you know a man's ego. He knows, but he's not disclosing. Perhaps he had an accident. Perhaps he had a medical issue. And he knows. And he goes on to get married. That guy that knows and gets married, and the wife brings children, he knows deep inside his heart that those are not his biological children. And then he goes ahead and takes care of them. It's not a big deal. And this is where, you know, the human mindset is tricky. And there's a second man that is fertile, right? And, you know, the woman is, you know, goes out, sleeps with somebody else, and then she gets pregnant, and then she comes home and says, "You are the father." And he suspects, and he goes and finds out, and he's not the father. Both of them know that they are not the father. But the decision that each of them make is different. At the end of the day, it boils down to your values. It boils down to your beliefs. It boils down to what you want.
Okay. Anyway, let's go on a break. We'll be back